they also can be a little delicate, so you're going to want to watch that. You also won't be able to get them as identical as you might wish, but you can get them fairly close. At this point, your dragon is probably going to look something like a deer or a goat. I've gotten that comment before, and it's really typical because most people think of dragons, as I said, huge, fire-breathing, fierce jaws and all that. They don't expect them to look more like a forest critter. And again, if you have excess model magic, now's a good time to get rid of it. And you don't want your dragon's snout to look too much like an animal, like a deer or a goat or pig, but you also don't want it to look too much like a bird beak. Actually, in this case, it looks kind of like Alf, but I don't know how many of you got that reference, but it's besides the point. What makes the character of your dragon so important is actually the face. The face can give a lot of insight onto whether or not this is a dragon you could be friends with or something you should definitely avoid. And if model magic sticks to your dragon, you can just remove that. It's best when you're working on the face to look at it from all angles. It'll give you some insight onto what you need to do to fix it. For instance, this one's kind of lopsided at the moment. And again, you're probably going to need to reform the abdomen after this. Now, at this point, you can also get a look at your dragon's eye sockets once you're satisfied with the snout. And I think I've got it pretty good at the moment, so to do the eye sockets, you're going to want to take either your index finger, your thumb, or your pinky, and you're just going to want to deform it a little bit. Sorry. Press in a touch there, and then you can pull above the eyes to make the eyebrow. This will give you a general shape of what your eye's going to look like, and you can kind of tease it and make it bigger or smaller, round or pointy. As I said, it depends on the kind of dragon you're going for. I think I'll make it have a little bit of a smaller eye. So you're going to want to repeat that on the other side. Sorry, I'm not trying to block the camera. And you may have to kind of resculpt the head a little bit after you put in the eye. Now this stuff is still pretty wet, so it will, try to shrink down on itself and deform. You're going to have to be relatively careful at this point, because if it shifts too much, you're going to need to start over, not completely, but on a section, and that can take more time than you might necessarily want to spend on your dragon. So this little one is looking pretty atypical at this stage to most of the other dragons I've done. So, you know, a little bit of detail, not much. You can also, you know, pull out a little bit around in here to create a rough, kind of like those ridges that you typically see on the fire-breathing dragons. And as I said, your dragon will probably not be completely up to your expectations initially. And since I can't really get rid of that, you know, taper-like quality. And you know, you're gonna have to smooth it out a little bit. But if you think about it, sometimes it can give your dragon an inquisitive look. Or, you know, maybe it's a surly dragon. The face does, as I said, give a lot of insight into personality. Also does position. Now, depending on what materials you're actually using, you might need to adjust your dragon's pose. You know, if it's feathered, it might be a little hard to make it sitting. So you might need it lying down or standing up. I think we're going to have this one standing up. So your dragon is going to look somewhat like this at the moment, at least if you're following and doing one with feathered wings and tail. And if you excuse me for just a minute, I'm going to get a needle and show you how to do the nostrils and the mouth, and then I'll also have show you how to set up for the wings and tail. So back in a moment.